I've got a question for us this morning. What are the things that are most important to you, and how do we share them with others? I'm actually looking for answers. If you're online, you could, actually, Eric just stepped out. I was going to say you could send things in by the chat, and we'll try to share them here. But come on, what's most important to you? Start there. Just yell it out.
Family.
Okay. Family.
Husband.
Your husband. What else? Family, husband. Helping others. What else? Kindness. Friends. Kindness. Loving. Caring. Now we're getting really going on this list. What else? What else? Food. Water. Sharing of gifts abundantly. Oh, that's a rich one. Yes? No pun intended. Sharing of gifts abundantly, and I said it was a rich one. What?
Party.
A party?
Yeah.
Oh, parties. Yeah. Kindness again. Oh, I like the repeats. This is good. Loving. Sharing. Okay, now next part of the question. And how, speaking of sharing, how do we share these things with others?
I do.
You do. You share them with others. Good. How? What are some practical ways? What are some tangible ways we share things like kindness, caring, food, loving with others?
I do. Sharing birthday cake.
A birthday cake. That's part of the parties. And also remembering a husband, a beloved husband. What else? Sharing gifts. Right? We might think of Christmas time when we share gifts because we want to show our love, but we also share gifts because we're remembering the greatest gift given to us in Jesus Christ. How else? How do we share these things with other people?
We can hug them.
We can hug them. Yes, we can hug them. What else?
Kiss.
We can hug and kiss them. Yes. Today, someone said food. Today we're going to have the free fresh food giveaway. We're going to be collecting in family to go to the food pantry at Family of New Paltz, our local social service agency. It's a way to share food.
We could share food, we could share water, we could share juice.
We could share all these things with other people. Oh, here's another one with food and caring and kindness. It's not today, but on the first and third Sundays, we have hospitality time where we gather after worship with coffee and tea and goodies. Actually, there were some leftover goodies from a wedding in the Carroll family this weekend, and so there are going to be some apple cider donuts and cookies out there, even though it's not a normal day for sharing these things. Yes? What was that? Make a meal. Absolutely. Make a meal. Sharing kindness. But isn't it interesting? We got a big list of things to do. Sometimes it's a little harder to figure out how to get them out there, isn't it? I was reading a story this week about a castle being built, a new castle being built. It's in the North Burgundy area of France, and they started building this castle in 1997, and they believe that it might take between 10 and 20 years more to build it and finish it. But partly that's because they're building this castle entirely with methods that would have been used in the medieval era. So they're chiseling every stone by hand. They've set up a blacksmith, and they're making all of the nails by hand. They're hand hewing the timbers to go into the doors and the roofs. The garden that's there is entirely filled with plants that you would have found in the medieval era in that region of France. Now, how many people here have ever had a chance to visit the castle ruins or a castle or something? Anyone? A few people have had a chance? It's kind of an amazing thing. And we think about castles, at least when I think about castles, we might think about everything that's in the past. But it was really interesting to me reading about this article because there are tons of young people. There are 100 people employed working on this castle, building it, but they also use it as a tool for education. They have over 300,000 visitors coming to this castle every year. It's interesting to me, though. For example, there was a 24-year-old working on this castle, and he builds the furniture for inside the castle. He visited the castle when he was 4 years old for the first time with his grandparents. And he knew then, he says, that he wanted to learn how to work with his hands. He wanted to learn how to work with his hands and find a vocation to do that. There's another young woman there who uses plants and things to create the dyes and pigments that they use for the paints on the walls and for the tapestries and cloths that are woven in there. She's in her 20s as well. She talks about the new life that this has brought to her, the vibrancy, the chance to work with her hands, to learn about herself. And so the thing that struck me reading about this was here is this ancient endeavor, a castle, but it has these young people and old people being given an opportunity to learn about themselves and to learn about life-giving ways to participate in the world. We're part of what is referred to sometimes as an ancient church. Some people think the church is ancient history. It's already past its prime. Some parts of the church, though, are referred to as the new ancient church, places where the timeless messages of Christ and the gospel are being carried out in all the best of ways they've ever been carried out, as well as in new ways. So help me now again with a list. What are some of the ways as a church, not just Redeemer, but church in the world, that we're sharing Christ's gospel? Caring for the planet. Thank you, Rich. And good news this week, we finally are signing the documents on the loan that will allow us to put solar panels on the church. More steps forward for caring for God's good earth. Caring for the earth, right? Years back, and actually it might have been Rich, it was Rich, who asked, what about that dishwasher in the kitchen? Couldn't we stop using paper and plastic and start using that dishwasher at hospitality? And so we did. Caring for God's earth. What else? Yes. Loving for everybody. That is such an important one. And in today's world, there are far too many examples, aren't there, where people are not loving each other? There's far too much divisiveness. Remember Christ saying, anyone can love their friends and family? The true test comes when we work to love our enemies. Work to love the people that we don't like, who maybe we're even afraid of because of what they say they believe or how they treat others. How else can we be church? Loving others, yes, Eric? The Levers say, a very practical, hands-on one. I love this, the Levers, helping people find their next employment opportunity, connecting people to meaningful work. Absolutely. Martin Luther talked about how we all have a God-given vocation to share the gospel. And whether we are parents and grandparents, great aunts and uncles, whether we're teachers, lawyers, doctors, pastors, students, whether we're retired, hopefully refired, we all have one endeavor before us to share the love of Christ through whatever we're doing. You've got another one for us? Oh, I love it. Thank you, Emmett. And helping other people, right? We would go back maybe to thinking about the free fresh food giveaway. Or I think about our youth taking sandwiches down to the homeless in New York City last year, right? These are tangible ways to be able to help other people. What else? How do we... Yes, Bill. Housing the unhoused. There's also discussions afoot in New Paltz. How could we provide showers or warming and cooling centers? Could the faith communities work together to find a way to do this in New Paltz? I saw another hand. Emmett, you are full of good ideas. Les, bring it on. Caring for everybody. Again, sometimes easier said than done. How do we, as the new ancient church, carry these endeavors out? Jesus, in telling this parable in today's gospel, warns it's not just about what we say, it's about what we do. Our cornerstone is Christ. And the builders, plenty of people in the world, if we're honest, even each of us ourselves, probably on a daily basis, I'll just talk for myself more than once, reject the opportunities to be loving like Christ, giving and helping others like Christ, embodying a living gospel of love and mercy and justice like Christ. But God doesn't give up on us. God seeks to expand our narrow vision. The Apostle Paul, in writing to the Philippians in our first lesson today, talks about his experience of God widening his vision. He was chief among the Pharisees. He was chief among the Jews, living out his understanding of God's call to live by the letter of the law. And Jesus met him on the road to Damascus, cast him from his horse, and said, "Paul, I've got a larger vision for you." He did initially make him blind, sent him. And in the process of getting healed, Paul discovered his vision expanded. God's desire for mercy and love and justice wasn't just for the Jewish people. God intended, through the work of Christ, to make the mercy of God available for all. So here's a question I just want you to ask yourselves, but not necessarily name out loud. Where are the places where you have held the vision of God too narrowly in your life and in your heart?